Hi there! In this episode of Hanami Mastery, I want to showcase a super useful little Ruby gem that actually helped me a lot in writing my own Ruby packages. It's a dry-Inflector gem written by Luca Guidi, an amazing developer, co-author of Hanami web framework, and I definitely recommend to follow him up. I actually discovered this gem by watching one of his videos, and I will post a link in the description of this video so you will see it as a first link that appears in the description. Now let's go back to the topic. Recently, we had a need in our project to improve the way we distribute commands that had been triggered in the system. Whenever the command is called in our application, it should be properly handled and the proper event should be published to our event store. I don't want to talk too much about how we approach the CQRS implementation in our systems, but I will show a little diagram here just to visualize what I'm talking about. In the usual web application, when you send a request, it's received by a router which recognizes the URL of the request and passes the attached parameters and headers into the proper controller action to be handled by. In other words, if you write articles #new in Rails or articles.new in Hanami, the passed string will be interpreted by the router and the controller named articles will be called with an action named new. Literally, based on the convention of naming and file structure, the proper constant will be initialized and proper method called. We needed a similar functionality for our business logic. We had a set of commands that can happen in the system, and each of them should be handled by a proper handler that at the end of the command execution should publish an event. We wanted a command bus class that actually registers proper handler automatically based on the given command name, following the naming convention we created. I know it sounds pretty complex, but it all comes down to this simple command bus class. It has two methods, register and call, and it allows us just register a handler just by adding the command class to the handler's hash. This is quite simplified version of the command bus, but it's already pretty useful. It allows us to register a command and then just call a command bus with this command. There is only one place where the logic of figuring out what should handle my command is, and it's a command bus. Let's scroll down to the init handler method where the whole logic is hidden. For commands create, it's supposed to call command handlers on create. However, this crashes due to the usage of constantize method at the end of the string transformation. This method is not implemented in Ruby, so we would either need to implement it ourselves or rely on active support's inflector. We didn't want that because active support is a huge set of features that we didn't want to use in our simple gem, and I don't want all my scripts to be Rails specific. We could implement this on our own, but then we have found the dry-Inflector, which was exactly what we needed. dry-Inflector is a simple gem that wraps several useful string transformations into a small inflector object. Because it's so small, we gladly injected that into our internal ecosystem. It's configurable, so we can use different configurations depending on what we need in different parts of the application, and it's thread safe. To use it, we only need to instantiate the inflector object, and from that we can make use of full set of all features it provides. For example, we can pluralize or singularize nouns, camelize strings, demodulize and perform several other string transformations. There is also the one we have looked for, which is constantize. Let's check how constantize method behaves. For that, I will create a minimal set, just applying Ruby script that requires the dry-Inflector at the top and creating the inflector instance. Let's then create the simple class. Let's call it Hanami Mastery and put some string into it. Maybe subscribe, as I actually want you to ask for subscribing to my channel. Then let's call the constant size based on the Hanami Mastery string as a parameter. Now run the script, and it works. That's amazing. Out-of-the-box implementation of most useful string transformations is accessible, but extracted as a single feature, ready to be used. So coming back to our problem, to solve our comment bus issue, I just need to add a dry-Inflector into my class, set it as a dependency, and after that I can use it out of the box. Instead of calling a constantIze method on the string class directly, I just call it on the Inflector object, which is much more safe for larger applications. This way, we avoided implementing the method in dozens of gems supporting our microservices ecosystem, and we have quickly realized that other inflection transformations were also very useful in our case. Now I would want to yet quickly mention the configuration feature, as this is one more super useful functionality. For example, I always hate when I want to have an API namespace and I need to name classes like API or HTTP with only first letter capitalized. This is easily solved by dry-Inflector by allowing to mark certain words as acronyms. When I initialize a new inflector, I can pass a configuration block into it, and within this block, update certain config options. For a full list of features, please refer to the docs. Now I will just show you the acronym settings. When I set the API and the JSON words as acronyms, methods like underscore and camelize will behave differently, taking these new transformation rules into the account. That's all I have for today. Check out the gems documentation if you seek more examples of usage, and I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you want to see more content in this fashion, subscribe to this channel and follow me on Twitter. As always, all links you can find in the description of the video or in the hanamimastery.com. Also, if you have any suggestions of amazing Ruby gems you would like me to cover or ideas how to improve, please mention it in the comments. I would like to thank Bogdan V for supporting this channel. He's my first monthly supporter, so I really appreciate it. Any support allows me to spend more time on creating this content, promoting great open source projects. Also, check out 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all, you are all great, and see you in the next episode.